Welcome to the Natural Health and Healing Show with one of New England's leading nutritionists, Mark Mincola. The show is brought to you by the Good Health Stores in Hanover and Quincy. Call Mark at 781-837-4900 with your health and nutrition questions. Now, here's Mark.
Good evening and welcome. I trust everyone is relaxed at home and ready for some spectacular radio, quite frankly. And that's the chuckle of one Catherine Foley. Welcome.
Good evening.
How are you this evening?
Very good, thank you.
It was great working with you this week.
It was really fun.
And it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
I found some interesting little tidbits this evening. Antioxidant benefits from fruits and vegetables we hear about constantly these days.
Yeah.
We've heard a great deal about the ORAC factor stuff, and the FDA is of course touting a lot of the ORAC studies. How they can really evaluate the benefit, the antioxidant benefits of different fruits, vegetables, spices, yada yada. Well, I found an interesting piece in PreventDisease.com about a study where milk was found to cancel out milk products found to cancel out the protective benefits of antioxidants. Cancel out. Yeah, milk cancels out the heart protective benefits of tea drinking. The catechins in tea are neutralized by the presence of dairy products.
Oh, my goodness.
So, as it says here, milk may destroy the antioxidant benefits of tea, fruits, vegetables, and even grain products. Several studies have found that tea is beneficial in terms of heart health. Obviously, the catechins, the polyphenols. Since there has been evidence showing that milk and milk products may block the body's ability to absorb antioxidants, researchers in Germany decided to see what adding milk would do to the heart protective capabilities of tea. They reported the results in the recent European Heart Journal issue, and in the study, 16 healthy women drank either half a liter of freshly brewed black tea with 10% skimmed milk, or only boiled water on 3 different occasions under similar conditions. The researchers then assessed the function of the cells lining the brachial artery in the forearms of the women through the use of high-resolution ultrasound both before and 2 hours after tea consumption. And the researchers found that the black tea was able to significantly improve the ability of the arteries to relax and expand, a condition that suggests positive cardiovascular health. And remarkable, they found that they concluded that the milk folks, the folks who added milk to their tea, didn't have the same benefits.
Oh, my goodness.
So the folks who added milk to their tea did not relax their arteries, did not expand the circulatory response of the arteries. And these researchers from Germany concluded that milk basically counteracts the favorable health effects of tea on vascular function, and demonstrated that the proteins in milk, called caseins, of course, were responsible for canceling out the positive effects of the polyphenols.
Well, I can actually see that when you look at the electrostatic, principles involved, the fats and the things in the dairy product canceling out the antioxidant capabilities of the polyphenols.
Well, and so many folks that that we talk to, obviously, through the course of the week regarding nutritional counseling, we're constantly sharing the information with them that, hey, milk is a mucoid, it's a phlegmatic food. And so many folks who have phlegmatic or mucus-producing conditions, folks who obviously have pulmonary issues, asthma, etc., are really unaware of the contribution that dairy products make.
Yeah.
There's a great deal of mucus. We always remind people that per ounce, there's 70,000 pus cells in milk.
That's terrible.
So, nasty stuff here. Antioxidant benefits from fruits and vegetables that we're hearing so much about, and the wonderful benefits of these polyphenol-rich fruits and veggies canceled out.
And you know what's wild, Mark, is the tea study where people were adding milk to their tea.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very small amount of milk that you do add.
You are so right about that.
What I'm saying?
We're not talking about sitting down drinking a pint or a quart of milk a day.
No, it's just you typically about a tablespoon or 2, and that's about it. So that's a very small amount to make such a dramatic health effect.
Well, and there's other ways to look at this, too. I mean, if that's true regarding the polyphenols being canceled out by the casein protein that's in dairy products, what about, for example, folks who put milk on their blueberries in the morning?
Yeah, the cereals.
Wouldn't we be looking at the same thing?
Yeah.
So again, the blueberries are very rich in the very same polyphenols that are so good for the heart, and yet so many folks think about putting a little dab of milk on those blueberries for breakfast. So
right,
very similar situation. So it may be time to rethink how we combine our foods.
Yeah.
You know, we talk a great deal from time to time about the importance of food combining, and this really brings a whole different image to mind about what some of those possibilities are. But these polyphenols, we talk about them a great deal, and, you know, they have been termed the lifespan essentials because the polyphenols, of course, part of the French paradox. You and I, of course, talk a great deal about polyphenols with regards to pomegranate juice and things of that nature. And you know, I think that folks really need to appreciate that these are very powerful natural medicines for the heart, for the immune system. Again, so many studies that I've taken a look at over the past several years regarding these very powerful polyphenols and Alzheimer's, for example. A lot of the recent UCLA studies with the Veterans Administration out in Los Angeles, you know, that 1,200 milligrams of EGCG, epicallicin-gatti, oh, you could tell me.
Oh, no, you can do it. So
EGCG.
EGCG.
Epicallicin-gallate. There you go. Easy for me to say. All right. Anyway, the EGCG is so powerful in these studies, and they've found that in animal studies where they've taken rats and they've basically injected them with human Alzheimer's cells and watched them really advance into advanced stage Alzheimer's, they would actually measure the amount of plaquing in the brain, and then they would give them the human equivalent of 1,200 milligrams of the EGCG, and they found that they could, in 6 months, reverse the plaquing, the Alzheimer plaquing, in half.
Wow.
So 4 to 6 months, all these animals basically found, well, not all, but 50% reverse their plaquing. So these are really powerful agents, not just for heart disease, not just for immunity and cancer, but also for Alzheimer's, etc. So might be thinking, like we said earlier, twice about how we combine our foods.
You know, yeah, and also, you know, the teas. I had been doing some research for a friend of mine that was suffering with asthma and found Bancha twig tea.
Great stuff.
Yeah, it has a natural high amount of theophylline in it.
Yes.
And theophylline is a medication that used to be prescribed to people for asthma, and it's actually 100 times better than a lot of the steroid asthma drugs that are out there. But here, Bancha twig tea has natural theophylline levels in there, you know, to help people that are struggling with asthma. It's a bronchial dilator, you know, and helps regulate some of the mineral exchange over the lung tissue.
Absolutely. And, you know, when I read this German study earlier, I couldn't help but think about so many of the references to studies regarding the difference between milk chocolate and the really dark, bitter the healthy dark, bitter chocolates. You know, in that the dark chocolates, the European chocolates, often are found to have very high levels of polyphenols because obviously the ORAC factor is so elevated, and these are very powerful healing agents, of course, in dark chocolate that are not found similarly in milk chocolate. So milk chocolate doesn't have these healing properties, and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if the milk component cancels out these polyphenols.
Yeah, you must be right.
So interesting stuff. All right, we got a lot to talk with you this evening about epicallicin-gallate. There it is. Okay, I got it. All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Thanks.
This is Catherine from Jarrow Formulas. We're happy to have continued our relationship with Mark Mincola in the Health and Healing Show, and we're happy to announce a new product from Jarrow Formulas called Jarrow Cell. We all know that as the body ages, it heals less rapidly and becomes frailer. Often the body is unable to process enough nutrients to repair weakening cartilage and protein fibers. A very important element in building and repairing your body is silicon. But unfortunately, as we grow, you may have difficulty absorbing adequate silicon from your diet. But now, thanks to a product called Jarrow Cell, you can be sure to get your share. Jarrow Cell can give you the silicon you need to support your bone health, bone mineral density, and in addition, Jarrow Cell strengthens and beautifies your hair, skin, and nails. Jarrow Cell is available now in a synergistic liquid formula that also includes boron and zinc. Ask for Jarrow Cell at your local health food stores. Or for more information, you can go to the Jarrow website, which is www.jarrow.com.
Right in our area, we are fortunate to have one of the top martial arts schools in the country, Personal Best Karate. Personal Best has been recognized for their community involvement, professional staff development, character building programs, and exciting educational curriculum. Personal Best stands at the top of their industry. 5 locations offering personalized professional instruction. Not sure if karate is right for you? At no obligation, the staff at Personal Best will guide you in a private introductory program to see if karate is indeed the right fit to help you achieve your goals and meet your needs. What does karate at Personal Best teach you? Character building, success habits, helps you get in shape, relieve stress, self-control, setting goals, and of course, self-defense. Personal Best's goal is to create successful, contributing members of society through the practice of the martial arts at Personal Best. Mr. Chris Rappold is, of course, the founder of Personal Best Karate. He tells me his greatest joy of all is to see the personal transformation in each and every student. Bring out your best with Personal Best Karate. Telephone number 508-285-5425. That's 508-285-5425. Locations in Norton, Foxborough, Southeaston, Franklin, and Taunton. That's Personal Best Karate. Hey, welcome back. And we've got all kinds of interesting little tidbits we're going to share with you this evening. And, of course, we have Catherine Foley here to help share those tidbits. What, you just look stunned.
I have an exciting one I meant to email you
Good.
this
I love
week.
exciting tidbits. Go, fire.
I heard that there is some legislation passing to make the influenza shot mandatory.
No.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them give me one of those things.
I know.
They're going to have to somehow throw me to the curb and do so with some very heavy force.
And then this week, a teenager actually died from the flu shot.
I have one of my very dearest friends in all the world, was 81 years old and a healthy, fit, active, wonderful 81 years old. And about a year and a half ago, succumbed to advice regarding getting a flu shot. And he was with another dear friend who took him to the doctor's office for that flu shot. He, the friend who's still alive, describes him as absolutely almost falling over within minutes after the shot.
Yeah.
Said, I think I better go home and lay down. He went home and laid down, and he died in bed that day.
Yeah, same thing happened with this kid. He spiked a huge fever. They rushed him to the emergency room, and he just passed away.
Yeah, well, there's nobody's going to give me any damn flu shots, I can promise you. Not going to happen. Just not going to happen.
I know.
I mean, I'm going to hit him with some heavy chi, I'll tell you, man.
Well, I just remembered because I think it was the show right prior to hearing that this week that we were talking about the flu shot, so it was just really quite timely.
Yeah, well, it's just...
I can see you already. You're like, yeah.
It's just not going to happen. I can guarantee you that's not going to happen. Anyway, geez, now you got me all ruffled here.
No, I can see.
How am I going to go on and do the rest of this program, Catherine?
Dairy.
All right, I'll use it as a motivating force. Actually, no, I wanted to share something a little bit more benign. There's actually an interesting piece that I wanted to share that was in the Journal of Hortiscience, actually. In the February issue, Dr. Ronald R. Davis, and he is a research associate with Biochemical Institute, University of Texas in Austin. And what he does is his entire life is dedicated to evaluating the evolutionary trends with regards to produce. In other words, with each generation of produce, does our produce literally lose its antioxidants, its power-packed nutrient potential? And in fact, yes, I found in this recent article that's going to appear in this month, I guess, in the Journal of Hortiscience, and Davis claims that all of our produce, our vegetables and our fruits in the supermarket, is presently anywhere from 5 to, ready for this, 40%, 40. So anywhere from 5 to 40% lower in minerals, specifically magnesium, iron, calcium, and zinc, than those harvested just 50 years ago.
That's amazing.
So in other words, a good portion of our produce out there in the supermarket is almost cut in half over the past generation in terms of its yield of nutrients. So pretty scary stuff. And I think that folks really I think, have some awareness. I've spoken to an awful lot of people about what they call the dilution effect. Right. And I think people are becoming more and more aware of this dilution effect. And there, of course, are a number of advances in agronomy. And, of course, the idea of doctoring our seeds,
right,
and the idea we've talked about, and we've had Jeffrey Smith on the program, of course,
the USDA.
The USDA, obviously, and obviously too, the whole thing of genetic modification, and I think that the big question about organic. What is organic? People ask me all the time, what is organic? What isn't organic? And there's a great deal to this whole business of just how maligned our produce is. The genetic modification in the United States right now, 61% of all corn in the marketplace and 89% of all soy.
Well, I mean, that is true. From a supplement point of view, for us, mm-hmm. a lot of times it's really hard for us to, like with our rice protein, mm-hmm. it is really challenging for us to find a consistent non-GMO source of the rice protein. And there may be times where we're just out of stock of the item for months on end because it's just not available. It's that hard to find.
Well, and the other part of that equation is even if someone is well-intentioned and they've got an organic field, and they really, really work hard and embrace the whole idea of clean, healthy food, organic food, unfortunately, there's great amounts of cross-contamination that are taking place on a daily basis out there. I remember reading, when I wrote my first book, I remember reading an interesting study from the state of New York, Department of Agriculture, and they actually went across the state of New York to 100 organic farms, and they actually evaluated the organic nature of the foods in those 100 farms, and they found that not one farm out of 100 actually had purely organic produce.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's an awful lot of seeds that can a lot of stray seeds and a lot of genetic pollens, genetically modified pollens, obviously, and stray seeds that are going to influence the cross-contamination reality, and it's a shame.
Well, that's the thing, birds and animals pick the seeds up and, carry them to different fields, so it's very
well, and I think, too, even the idea of pesticides, like you could have, the movement of rain as it moves across from west to east is going to gather up chemical toxins up in those rain clouds and then redistribute them and drop them down in organic farms. So it's incredible. But I think that the thing that disturbs me the most is the genetic modification. I think that's just overt, the fact that for so long the FDA didn't really require any labeling of genetic modification. That's just unconscionable.
Right.
Because we know what people would choose.
Well, that's why.
Hello.
That's why they don't label.
I think I'll choose the genetically modified produce.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. Any more than me getting a shot, right? So we, I think what we want to do is the whole point here is we want to be thinking in terms of really, I think, awakening to the reality that it is time for organic produce. It's really time for trying to make that choice, I think, for organic produce because, again, when you think about what we said earlier, the fact that there is a diluting effect, where the general produce out there that's being cultivated is diluted. It's losing a great deal of its nutrient yield. Then you shift over to organic when you're trying to find good quality. And I think you still are making the right decision by going organic. Even though there is cross-contamination, etc., you're still making the best possible choice.
Right.
And I think the way that people clean their produce, I always tell people there's a polarizing or depolarizing spray that you can do. Baking soda goes in one spritzer bottle, and apple cider vinegar goes in the other one. And you first of all put your produce in a colander in the sink. You spray first from the acid solution, then the alkaline solution. So you first of all spray with the water and apple cider vinegar, then you spray with the water and baking soda. Boom. Let it run for a little while in the sink, and then just tap water, cleanse it, and you're pretty well neutralized.
Yeah, and that's one of my old professors had mentioned one time that a lot of the pesticides that they actually use, soap and water, is not good enough to take it off, or even soap, because a lot of them are waxy-based pesticides. Like when you get something like a plum or an apple or something, it has that wax residue on it. That's
paraffin, isn't it? I think it's paraffin.
It's paraffin with pesticides infused.
With pesticides infused, that's right.
Yeah.
So, I think we're making a good case for organic. We're making a good case for folks keeping the milk off the produce, off the fruits, and out of the tea.
And then, also, people have asked me the question for years, why would I take supplements? Why do I not just, eat really, really healthy? And, I understand that argument completely, but the basis of the situation is that our food system is so deficient. And so we are, as a society, presenting with a lot of chronic illnesses that are nutrient deficiencies because of that.
Well, and listen, I think to some extent, when we think about you and someone asking you what you do you take vitamins? Why don't you just eat, rely upon healthy eating? Look, 90% of the food dollar spent in America is spent on processed, prepackaged food. Only 10% is spent on produce. Mm-hmm. So how many folks eat the way Catherine does? Not many.
Yeah. And that was the other thing, too, when, we met a fellow Dino this week, and he is part of a community-based raw milk association where they get raw milk. And, that's the thing about the dairy products that we do consume is they are so processed. They're processed beyond recognition for your body.
Yep.
So your body doesn't recognize them. It looks at them as antigens or allergens because they're processed beyond what your body is set up to recognize dairy as.
Absolutely true. And the other thing I wanted to talk real briefly about, too, is folks know that trans fats, of course, are really not the way to go unless you're trying to expedite heart disease.
Yeah.
So, the idea of trans fats, kibosh, we know that. But what are folks getting in replacement? The enterosterified fats are being replaced. So folks think that it's, as long as the trans fats are not on the label, I'm okay to go. In fact, a lot of these food companies are putting the label on that says no trans fats. So everybody out there in consumer land thinks that they're being protected by product labeling and, this is great, a responsible company that is finally removing and labeling as such the no trans fats labeling.
Right.
I must be okay here. Well, what they substitute, unfortunately, in many cases, are the fats that they're using are not as healthy, let's put it that way. They're not as safe as you think they are out there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of partially hydrogenated oils that are being used and a lot of fractionation, and they're still processing a lot of these. There's a lot of fake butters that folks are feeling comfortable about using. And I really say no to that stuff. I think you got to be really, really careful about what you're using as a substitute for the bad trans fats.
Yeah, those hydrogenated oils are really bad because they, basically they'll take like olive oil or something and then force hydrogen gas into it, and that's how they get it to become saturated. And it's, you have all of these free hydrogens around the molecule, and when your body breaks them up, you're now have these free hydrogens running around in your body, and you and I know that those free hydrogens basically equal free radicals.
Absolutely, and the enterosterified fats are the ones that you got to be careful of because they're being put in a lot of products that would lead one to believe that they're healthy substitutes, and they're not.
Yeah.
So, I tell people, look, when it comes down to fats, you're wise to use good cold-pressed olive oils and things of that nature. And coconut oil, absolutely right. And to use, I say, small amounts of butter. If you want to use some ghee, some clarified butter, you're better off to keep it real simple. But when you start getting into a lot of these quote substitutes that are safe, healthy substitutes, you better look twice. There's, a terrific article if folks want to take a peek on preventdisease.com site. I always like to go to that site, preventdisease.com, and check out trans fats are being substituted, but is the substitution any better? Interesting article. And, of course, that is a rhetorical question because the substitutes are indeed just as problematic as what they're substituting for.
Yeah.
But, and again, when we talk about fats, we're talking largely about the heart disease issue.
Yeah.
And you and I had a great deal to say about all that earlier this week together, and we wanted to share a little bit of that with everybody out there because I think it was well worth sharing with our listening audience out there because they couldn't all be there.
No, it was really
unfortunately.
Fun.
It was. But, the idea of heart disease, when you really think about the presentation that we gave, it really spells out very clearly that America is quite confused still about heart disease. And I think that there are some really important key points that we might bring up to share with folks out there to really help them get clear about some of these issues. And the first one, of course, is cholesterol.
Yeah.
And cholesterol is not a closed and shut case. We've said many times on this broadcast that cholesterol has a purpose for being in the human body. Obviously, it insulates cells. It protects them from viruses and germs. It protects them from DNA assaults. It waterproofs cells. It hydrates cells. It is really the opening door, the gate hormone, or the gate chemistry for all hormones in the body.
Yeah,
so
it really
if someone really, if you were to eradicate, and it really frightens me, I have so many folks coming in saying, well, my doctor put me on a statin drug, and my cholesterol's really low, but they just want to keep driving it lower. I say, well, that is absolutely reckless.
Yeah.
Especially, they're thinking now, of course, about driving down the cholesterol of young children. And young children, of course, really need to have a healthy hormonal system.
Yeah, because they're going through the changes of life. They need that estrogen and testosterone production.
And, of course, so many women now, unfortunately, are being corralled as new victims in the world of heart disease, where 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that wasn't the case. It was a man's disease, and now it's not any longer. And again, it frightens me, the prospect of putting so many women on statins. That is not the ready-made solution that so many folks really are led to believe, the miracle pill. So many of these gals are going to be finding some very serious hormonal imbalances as the result of their statin medications.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is every system in our body is just that. It's a system. There's not one key molecule that controls everything. It's a lot more dynamic than that. So, there's a lot more going on. Cholesterol is just one component of the heart, and cholesterol is a precursor to CoQ10, coenzyme Q10.
Absolutely true. And the other thing I wanted to mention, you can't really talk much about statins without mentioning aspirin, because there's virtually nobody out there who has been confronted by heart disease and is on a statin medication who hasn't been recommended aspirin to thin their blood. And I always am quick to point out that those very powerful studies regarding aspirin were strictly performed with buffered aspirin.
Right.
And that you do not get the same blood-thinning results with aspirin that you do with the buffered aspirin.
Right.
And so many folks believe that the buffered aspirin was effective because of the magnesium buffering.
Yeah.
So the actual agent that buffers the aspirin is the magnesium. And magnesium is, in and of itself, a blood thinner. It'll lower the blood pressure. It'll when you think about the Navy studies, the Navy did some extensive magnesium studies about 15 years ago. They estimated that 80% of the American public is deficient in magnesium.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, the idea is to understand that when you consume alcohol, when you take high amounts of sugar, when you take high amounts of caffeine, when you take high amounts of very acidic processed foods, you're going to eradicate your magnesium. Magnesium is very unstable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so vital to heart health.
Yeah, it's the key, the electricity of the heart, too, the beating of the heart. Magnesium is at the very center of that, electricity, the electrocardiograph that they, give to people to, read the heart, or the ECG, the electrocardiogram that measures, the electricity, and it has to do with this, change of ions between the cells of magnesium and calcium and potassium.
Absolutely true.
And that's why these nutrients were at the core of traditional medical treatment for cardiovascular disease 50 years ago. If somebody had cardiovascular disease, they would get magnesium citrate, or they would get potassium. They would get whatever electrolyte they were off balance of. And we've just come so far from that.
And here's the deal, folks. For grandmother and grandfather, Mother Nature was on the front page.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because of the machineries involved in our present business world and economic world, Mother Nature's solutions are on the back page.
Yeah.
But the solutions still work. They always did.
They always did.
And I think we're sort of talking about a whole generation of folks like yourself and myself that are trying to bring that back on the front page. Yeah. Anyway, you are our heartbeat. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back in just a very short window. Thanks. Hi there, this is Mark Mincole, the Natural Health and Healing Show. I know that so many of you out there are passionate about the latest cutting-edge nutritional information, would like to go on to that next level. I'm proud to announce that our new natural health care offices in Cohasset are offering personalized nutritional consultations. At Santi Holistic Healing, you'll experience an informative, individualized nutritional consultation by one of my finest personally trained nutritional experts. Your consultant will test you for specific food allergies and supplements. Together, you'll chart out a personalized, optimal nutritional roadmap that will detail your healthiest foods and nutritional supplements, even specific doses. If that's not enough, we also offer relaxing healing massage at Santi Holistic Healing. Whether it's nutritional consulting or healing massage that you're interested in, we at Santi Holistic Healing are prepared to give you the healing experience of a lifetime. Call us at 781-383-3393. That's 781-383-3393 for the healing experience of a lifetime.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health Natural Foods, proud sponsor of the Health and Healing Show. We're all about smart, simple, and affordable nutrition. Let our lifestyle consultants help you and your family keep your resolutions and achieve all your personal goals this year. Feel good and look your very best today. For everything natural, organic, and economical, it's Good Health Natural. Thanks for listening.
Candida is here.
In the house.
In the house. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
Terrific. Very well, thanks. You've got some all kinds of little interesting tidbits of information to share, no doubt.
Yes. Your class is getting nice and full.
Nice and full. Good.
Folks are interested.
That's what we like.
In
We want a big party.
We want a big party.
Fill the house.
It's Mark Mincola's Life Force Muscle Testing Intensive, which is going to be an all-day Saturday.
Yeah, well, the past few years, for folks that are not familiar, we've actually had ongoing certified classes that we put together, and they were very well attended and terrific programs. We graduated quite a few people with diplomas and all that. And what I've done, of course, in these programs is really endeavored to put a curriculum together from the program of healing that I've pieced together, crystallized over the past 27 years, and really developed a system that we've conveyed to these prospective students, and they're all using them as allied professionals, and
That's right.
they've learned the muscle testing system, et cetera, and they're doing great. We still get emails and constantly see folks out there, and now what we're doing, of course, is an intensive, a one-day Saturday afternoon blitz.
Yes.
And we're going to really fire everybody up with an awful lot of information regarding my system and really teach my system. So a great thing for allied professionals and even folks that are not professionals.
That's right. We have a couple of moms who took the class
and did great.
Time,
and I see them all the time. My kids are so much healthier now, and we know
so
what to do when things happen, when things go wrong, when somebody gets a sniffle or whatever. So it's great.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons that prompted this was that your schedule is very full.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a great way for people to, take control of their own health and well-being.
It is very full, and it's going to get very fuller.
Yes. Which is why we were so lucky to get a one-day.
It's going to be great. I look forward to it.
Which we really appreciate.
Well, let everybody know exactly the date and the time and how they can find out more about it.
March 28th, it's a Saturday. It's going to be at the Coastal Church in Hanover.
Which is a great facility, by the way.
Isn't it wonderful?
It's awesome.
It's going to be all PowerPoint system. We have a microphone.
It's perfecto.
It's a lot of space.
Great room for lecture. It really is.
Yeah,
super.
We love it there.
Great.
And it's from 9 to 6, and you're going to learn the mind medicine, learn about your intentions, which is a very powerful, energetic diagnostic tool, so people could check in with themselves. Then you're going to teach them about the life force analysis system that you've mastered.
The detailed diagnostic muscle testing system, etc. So that's going to be a lot of fun doing that. Folks are going to really get involved, hands-on. They're going to partner up, and we're going to kind of walk through things with them and let them actually get involved right away with things.
Yeah. And actually, a lot of students in the past still have study groups, so we could team people up to just keep on going and studying it.
Great stuff.
We have lots of charts and handouts and stuff.
So if there are allied professionals or folks out there who are not allied professionals, but they want to tune in, use this system, learn more about it, get it up and running, they contact who and how, please?
Candida by telephone. Or you could go on my website also, which is myhealthylivingmag.com or 781-834-2728.
Give them that number once. But you know what? I just envisioned somebody grabbing a pen and paper out there.
I should always tell people to have a pencil handy when I come home.
Absolutely.
781-834-2728. Actually, they already have a pen with you.
That's right. Well, we look forward to seeing everybody out there. It's going to be a wonderful Saturday, and we're going to get an awful lot done.
That's right.
What else you got?
Well, Good Health Natural Foods. Did you know that February is Heart Health Month?
Well,
were you guys just talking about it?
We didn't know that.
Get smart about your heart. So you should go down to Good Health. They have lots of different supplements and products out there.
You know, you don't sound like you're from New England.
I don't?
And when you say smart about your heart, wouldn't it be smart about your heart?
It would.
Come on now, let's get with it here. Smart about your heart.
No, you could take me out of Brooklyn, but you can't take the Brooklyn out of me, Mark.
We love it just the way it is.
Thank you. We have super savings for the month of February at Good Health Natural Foods. The Jarrow Formula Ultra Bone Up is on sale for $22.89, which promotes bone density. Do you want to speak on that a little, Catherine?
Yeah. Well, Bone Up is formulated for bone density. It has the protein form of the calcium, hydroxyapatite calcium, and it's formulated for calcium absorption, retention, also collagen build and formation, vitamin K, magnesium, all of those good things.
And it's a complex. It has boron in it, and it's really designed for, like she said, maximum assimilation. Calcium, as you pointed out the other day, it's everywhere, and folks, the human body's pretty good with it, but when you put it in a center just like this, it's a can't-miss absorption.
Yeah.
And thank you. My mom's been taking that.
Oh.
The Now formula, which is a brand there that's really on the affordable side at Good Health, the CoQ10 60 milligram soft gels is on sale, and this is their new formula, which includes 250 milligrams of omega-3, 10 milligrams of the natural vitamin E, and 200 milligrams of soy lecithin.
Lecithin.
Oh. For $17.99. Almost.
Close enough. Who's counting?
Which you always talk about, the CoQ10.
I do, of course. We're going to talk more about it in just a little while, too.
Great. It's on sale. And just go down, check out their the bulk items that they have down there.
And where is this Good Health Natural Foods? Let's let the people know exactly how to get in touch with them, where it is, phone numbers.
Absolutely. In Hanover, they're at 219 Columbia Road on Route 53 in Hanover. The phone number is 781-826-0808. And in Quincy, at 1627 Hancock Street, the phone number is 617-773-4925. And I don't know if most folks know this, but they deliver.
They do.
They do. In the winter months when it's really bad out for some people who can't get out, they do.
And for all things natural, it is.
Good Health Natural Foods.
Indeed.
Did you see in Hanover? They redid the whole outside
They
of the building.
did, I know that.
Looks amazing.
Yes, it does. It looks great.
Looks really good. Earthy.
So there's one other thing you wanted to talk about, right? The article that's upcoming.
Oh, yes.
And the new release of Healthy Living. When is this going to be out? The magazine will be out when?
The middle of March.
Middle of March. Not far away.
No.
And I just crafted a new article on detoxification.
The Spring Detox article.
Detox article. So
Cleansing from the Inside Out.
that is the title, indeed.
That is a good title.
It's a 7-day cleanse for folks that want to kind of clean the body out a little bit this spring, and that is the time of the year to do it.
Yeah, we talk about how to do it, what supplements to take along the way.
A lot of interesting information in there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Great. All right. Thank you so much.
All righty. Have a great
All
night.
right. Have a great night. Thank you. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. Stay right where we are.
It's fresh and clean. Candida, just take my hand and I'll lead you.
Don't miss the 9th Annual International Herb Symposium, celebrating the healing power of plants, June 19th through the 21st at Wheaton College in Norton, Mass. It's a symposium to touch your heart and soul, as well as your mind and spirit. This gathering is for all people enraptured by the healing essence of herbs. Learn from an extraordinary gathering of herbal teachers, elders, and healers from around the world. There will be over 90 workshops for all levels of interest and experience, and over 50 teachers representing 12 countries. To register or for more information, call 802-479-9825. That's 802-479-9825. Or visit internationalherbsymposium.com. The 9th Annual International Herb Symposium, June 19th through the 21st at Wheaton College.
Hi there, this is Mark Mincole, the Natural Health and Healing Show. I know that so many of you out there are passionate about the latest cutting-edge nutritional information, would like to go on to that next level. I'm proud to announce that our new natural health care offices in Cohasset are offering personalized nutritional consultations. At Santi Holistic Healing, you'll experience an informative, individualized nutritional consultation by one of my finest personally trained nutritional experts. Your consultant will test you for specific food allergies and supplements. Together, you'll chart out a personalized, optimal nutritional roadmap that will detail your healthiest foods and nutritional supplements, even specific doses. If that's not enough, we also offer relaxing healing massage at Santi Holistic Healing. Whether it's nutritional consulting or healing massage that you're interested in, we at Santi Holistic Healing are prepared to give you the healing experience of a lifetime. Call us at 781-383-3393. That's 781-383-3393 for the healing experience of a lifetime. Hey, welcome back in. And we're going to get back on point here. And we're going to chat with you this evening about some additional heart disease-related tidbits of information. I wanted to also mention something around the area of stress because, you know, stress, it's a buzzword now. Everybody knows the word stress is, of course, synonymous with virtually every disease,
right.
But none more than heart disease. And I think that the thing that people want to realize is that there are some very specific connections here. There are neurohormones, or hormones that are produced in coordination with your nervous system that activate during periods where the kidneys are deficient. And again, when the adrenal glands, your stress glands, are overactive, your kidneys get beat up.
Yeah.
Once those kidneys get beat up, these nerve hormones are driven up into very high levels, and they're very inflammatory. So they really overwork the heart, they increase the heart rate, they dilate the blood vessels, they constrict the blood vessels, and they increase the amount of prostaglandin 1. And these are hormones that are neutral, but I think the key here is you want to convert those prostaglandin 1 hormones. You want to convert them into anti-inflammatory, what we call icosanoid 3 hormones. So, you know, the real point is when you get stressed out, there's a specific chemistry that overworks your heart. Mm-hmm. And it's really important to try to get a grip on the stress issue, not just in the obvious ways, you know, by deep breathing, yoga, meditation, tai chi, really working on it intentionally. But it's also really important to use, back to the idea of magnesium.
Yeah.
Magnesium is so important to neutralize the neurohormone excesses of stress.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and magnesium is Mother Nature's nerve tranquilizer.
Yeah.
So, I think that when folks think about heart disease and blood pressure, for example, I always like to think about things like celery seed extract because of the 3NB that's in there. Yeah. There's a chemical agent in celery seed extract, which you can buy in a tincture form at the health food store. You know, once again, our dear friends, at Quantum Herbs, they do such a wonderful job there. They're great company.
Yeah, Ruth,
and,
the owner.
Ruth, yes, special person.
Yeah.
And, you can obtain them inexpensively over the counter at the health food store.
Yeah.
But there's a substance in the celery root extract, in the drops, in the tincture. And it tastes pretty good, by the way.
Yeah.
You'll smell a little bit like celery if you take it, but you could do worse. But there's something called 3NB, and as in Nancy, B as in Bob, 3NB. which has clearly demonstrated in study after study the expressed ability to lower blood pressure very effectively. So the idea of trying to neutralize these stress hormones is a very, very important part of this heart disease equation. And so many folks are being put on these blood pressure medications that are so stressful on the kidneys.
Yeah, they're diuretics.
They're diuretics, and they throw off the very precious electrolyte balances that our hearts and our bodies desperately need to maintain.
And depend on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this whole business of osmotic regulation, magnesium, potassium, folks, if you can balance out your magnesium and potassium, you will be far less stressed and far more heart healthy.
Absolutely.
But many of these medications that we are being put on out here in disease land are unfortunately very problematic and are really contributing to the problem. They're not solutions, but unfortunately they become part of the problem. So I wanted to mention that. I also want to mention the whole concept of the oxidation process. You might want to mention a little bit about that.
Well, the oxidation process for LDL cholesterol inside the blood vessel walls is LDL cholesterol. It basically oxidizes. It becomes a free radical, and it hits the endothelial tissue, and it causes damage. It's very similar to the kind of damage you would get if, say, a hot ember landed on your skin. You get inflammation, you get scar formation, and the body tries to heal itself. And what's happening is this is happening like systemically all over the cardiovascular system. And then, we're in a pro-inflammatory state, and the body does not have time to heal. And then calciums get attracted to the plaques that are inside the artery walls, and now you get arterial sclerosis of the arteries, and you don't get a turnaround. But as you had mentioned last week with the kinases, the proteolytic enzymes, and that you can actually start healing the process. Or you can use things like GPLC carnitine, which goes directly to that tissue, increases nitric oxide production, and reduces the inflammation so that now your body can heal.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think, too, the nattokinase is a really wonderful natural medicine in these scenarios as well. But I think most folks think in terms of, they're so frightened, that the heart disease issue, of course, and it is, of course, a frightening issue. But most folks are frightened into using medications in taking strategic routes that in many cases can be very damaging. I had one gentleman that I saw last year who was put on a statin because of only moderately elevated cholesterol.
And that's what is concerning. I consider statins along the line of emergency medicine, and they're being used as preventative medicine.
That's exactly right. Well, this gentleman only had moderately elevated cholesterol, and he was put on statin drugs. And we did some blood testing on him in the corporate environment, as we do with everyone, just to keep tabs on people. And I found that his cholesterol wasn't a problem when we checked him. But what I did find is his liver enzymes were skyrocketing. And unfortunately, he was unaware of the fact that the liver enzymes are often driven up in very high numbers as a result of statins. So statins will drive up your liver enzymes in many cases, and he was unaware of that. So I urged him to go back to his practitioner and to share the blood results with him, and he did. He was kept on those statin drugs, and I monitored his blood again in 6 months, and the numbers had gone even higher.
Oh, my goodness.
Long story short, he is no longer with us. He died fairly quickly as the result of liver cancer.
Well, I was just going to say, we have talked a lot about the two detox pathways that are in the liver, and the liver enzymes that clear carcinogens out of your blood. And the fact of the matter is, the more unhealthy your liver is, or the less capacity it has to clear those toxins out of the blood, they actually go back into the body.
That's right.
And a lot of these carcinogens are fat soluble, so they stay in fatty tissue. And that fatty tissue is prostate, breast, and brain tissue.
That's right.
Or they stay in the liver if the liver hasn't been able to clear fats, and now you have fatty liver. So one of those four places, these carcinogens come back and they pile up in, and that we are seeing a huge incidence of brain cancer. Brain cancer used to be so rare in so many instances. I mean, and now we're seeing such a huge rise in brain cancer, and it's if you drive your liver enzymes up that high so that they can't function, you are setting yourself up for extreme toxic situations and extreme carcinogen.
Well, and the brain, of course, is largely comprised of
myelin.
And, well, cholesterol as well.
And fats, yeah.
So there's the brain is really largely comprised of fats, and cholesterol is a large component of what the brain is comprised of.
Absolutely.
So there's no question that folks who do have those elevated enzymes as the result of their statins really need to urge their practitioner to monitor the levels of enzymes that those statins will drive up in many cases.
Yeah, and in one instance you are reducing your body's own bioavailability and ability to manufacture good nutrients, and at the same time increasing your exposure to carcinogens. So you are decreasing your defense mechanisms at the same time as you're decreasing something that is there to help defend you.
There are a number of physicians and a number of different studies that I have seen that make it very clear that whenever you put pantethine, which is a converted form of vitamin B5. When you put pantethine head-to-head with any statin drugs, the pantethine wins hands down every time.
Like crazy. And how much is pantethine?
Every time.
Like
you can get pantethine for $14.
Yeah, I mean...
So if you really want to drive down your cholesterol level, if your heart's set, no pun intended, on driving down your cholesterol levels, you can certainly do a much more efficient job with pantethine.
Easily.
And have zero side effects.
Yep, easily and quickly, and there are just, like we said, the nutrients that we've really talked about tonight are pantethine, magnesium, potassium. Yep. These are
GPLC.
Basics. GPLC. These are just basics. It's nothing fancy, really. It's just basic nutrients.
Well, and from the dietary perspective, most folks think that they've got to lay off the bacon and eggs. And, of course, when we're talking about saturated fat and you're talking about clotting factor, you certainly do want to be careful of things like red meat and bacon and eggs and all that kind of stuff. But if you're just looking at cholesterol, really what you want to realize is that 80% of the cholesterol in the human body is manufactured by the human body. And that Dr. Michael Brown, we talk about him quite often, the gentleman who won 2 Nobel Prizes in medicine. He was at MIT doing his research back in the 80s, and he won his 2 Nobel Prizes in medicine in 1984 for the coenzyme A, the HMG reductase coenzyme A dissertation that he put together, when he basically proved, for all intents and purposes, in his Nobel work, that 80% of the cholesterol in the human body is triggered by insulin, which is triggered by sugar and starch. So if you really want your cholesterol to go down, you really want to lower the amount of white flour and sugar that you consume.
Absolutely.
Why don't you mention a little bit about the CoQ10? I know that's something that you've really done a great deal of wonderful work on.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about CoQ10 just because I've seen it turn so many people's lives around. CoQ10 is a molecule that's part of the energy production system in your body, but it also functions as an antioxidant. It's a fat-soluble vitamin, so when it sees LDL cholesterol, it can actually neutralize it. They're attracted to each other because, they dissolve like. So you can lower your LDL damage that's happening, but at the same time, you're giving your heart more energy. And I'm just going to look at the heart facts because there were some really cool heart facts about, what the energy demands of your heart really are. And so for your heart, it beats about 100,000 times in one day. And your heart beats about 35 million times in 1 year.
That doesn't include people who fall in love, though.
No. Or get their hearts broken. So in both instances, it increases. In 1 day, the blood travels 12,000 miles, and the heart pumps about 1 million barrels of blood in the average lifetime. So, that's just an indicator of what the energy demands are on your cardiovascular system, and also a compounding fact to ask yourself, if I'm on a statin drug and statin drugs lower your your body's own CoQ10 production, you're lowering your your heart's energy capacity. So it's just, it's just a twofold.
Well, I'll share a little tidbit. If you were to take 25% of the CoQ10 out of your body, no matter who you are, no matter how healthy you were, no matter what your age was, if you remove 25% of the CoQ10 from your body, you will have heart disease. If you remove 75% of the CoQ10 from your body, you will have your heart stop beating.
Yeah.
That's how important that is.
What was that again? 75%?
75%, you're done.
Yeah.
And what about the interesting statistic about how it depreciates over time?
Well, when CoQ10 first came out, it was considered the anti-aging supplement because when you look at tissue saturations of CoQ10, they decrease as we age. This is natural. We can understand that because our cholesterol metabolism actually decreases as we age because we're using less cholesterol to make estrogens and testosterones and what have you. It's part of the life cycle.
Yep.
But what happens is we see that, at around age 40, your tissue saturation levels drop by about 40% in the heart, by about 30% in the liver, in the lung. And this is where we start to see all of the major failures within aging is heart, lung, liver. And you see the CoQ10 drop in relation to that age decline. So, CoQ10 was always considered the anti-aging supplement, but now it's just so much more than that.
That's astounding. And, when you think about the incredible astronomical rise in heart disease, it makes perfect sense because if you only need a 25% diminishment to equal that high risk for heart disease, and if by age 40 you're 40% diminished, there you have so much heart disease development right there in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I will say that the makers of the statin drugs, Merck, they actually own a patent for a combination of statin and CoQ10, but it's never come to market.
The other thing I think we should mention here is those folks